So on this next episode of LASR Nation Live, we're actually going to be bringing our first guest on board who's live. But before we do that, we're going to talk about a couple of the matches that we've discovered out in the field that we're working with, as well as the results or the current results of the laser postal match that we have going on board. So we had started it last week, but we have a new one on board and we want to make sure people are invited. But before we do that, we're going to cut to a scene here where we're talking about laser, and we'll be with you in a short while. Hey everybody, and I got Sam on the other line. Sam, how you doing this morning?
Doing good. How are you, Ben?
Not too bad. So I hear you got some guests in the office today as well, don't you?
Yes, I have the 3 boys. Mommy's at a baby appointment. So
So let me guess, how many is that now? 3 boys, and then you got one on the way. So you're gonna have a full house here pretty soon.
well, I've got my fire team to protect the baby sister. So
Oh, there you go. That's a
it
different way
works.
to look at it. I was gonna say a basketball team, but that makes sense. You being an Army grunt, you know what it's like to have that.
yeah, it's like, got my grenadier, my machine gunner, and my rifleman.
There you go. Now, who's who's the boss of the whole thing? Your oldest one, or some of the youngest ones take charge?
I'd say Teddy probably rules the roost when it comes to
Okay.
that. He'd be the saw gunner.
If they jump in the scene, it's fine, perfectly fine, because of course, when we do stuff with firearms as a family, we'll usually have a family with us. In fact, a lot of the events we go to involve our family and our kids. So completely understanding, and I think that's common for a lot of the folks here who are in the 2A community. It is kind of a family thing that we gather together and do things together. So that's perfectly fine. You know that we have a guest coming up, don't you, Sam?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we met him. In fact, if I remember correctly, you introduced him to me. And that's Steve. His name is Steve
Teutsch.
Let me get this right, Teutsch. I was corrected last time I said it. And, I've been called worse things in my own last name, so I don't want to slaughter other people's last names. But do you remember how long ago it was when you first met Steve?
No, let's see. I first talked to Steve that I can recall. It would have been about a year ago in October. So
Okay.
coming up on a year. I talked to him right when we were getting ready to release all of our posters.
Okay.
Steve was the big proponent of, he was like, hey, these posters, they're cool, but like, can we split them up into individual stages? So he was the big proponent to push that. So that's when I really started talking to Steve, and then was like, okay, I'll talk to Ben. And then, so that's how I got to know Steve. And then now he calls, and it's immediately, I pick up the phone and hear Steve's voice, and I'm like, oh, it's Steve. So,
Well, that's good, because a lot of our big ideas come from our customers. So folks get surprised that we answer our phone when we can. Sometimes we're on the other line or packing stuff, especially your part, Sam. But a lot of the ideas we get to help make things better are actually from you guys out in the field. So Steve is one of these folks in LASR Nation. He's living in a corner of the U.S. somewhere. He's in Ohio because we met him. Actually, he was the host at the Glock match up in Lima.
Right.
I'm not going to say where he lives. If he wants to disclose it, that's fine. But Lima, Ohio is about as general as we're going to get. But we're going to have him come on board. And the whole idea is we understand there's people out there who own guns. In fact, last time I looked at numbers, about 100 million gun owners that we know of in the United States. And that's up for debate, maybe a little more, a little less. It's constantly growing. But for those folks who are in certain areas like the inner city or places where they need to know more information about, one, I want to buy a gun, but where do I start? And two, you gun people are crazy people. You're all tatted up. You're all Army people or Marines, a bunch of tactical people. I want people to know that's not the case. We will come from all walks of life. Like we said, we have family with us. So we want you to relate to people like Steve, like us, and see if we can
Sure.
help answer some of these questions if you're starting your Second Amendment lifestyle. So that's what we're
Right.
doing on in the thing. But first, Sam, we're going to touch on a couple of things. What I did want to point out over the last week or so, we've been talking to a few people. So the first thing I'm going to bring up, let me bring up the screen here. I'm going to do a screen share. Besides the Army one, we're going to talk about. I don't know if you've ever heard of these guys before. Have you heard of the Rimfire Challenge or Rimfire Challenge Shooting Association? Have you heard of them before?
Uh, just in passing, like probably, I think I probably heard about it from you, honestly.
Okay. Well, if you know, we go to Steel Challenge events. In fact, we love supporting the Steel Challenge shooters. We went to the World Speed Shooting Championship that they had in Talladega. But
Hmm.
a lot of those folks, if you watch some of these videos, if you ever go there, watch the watch Rimfire Challenge videos, and then look at the Steel Challenge videos, and you'll notice there's a huge commonality or same faces that you see all the time. And it's
Right.
because these are very closely related. I believe 22 LR, although it's often neglected when it comes to dry fire training or some of these training spaces, because maybe people
Sure.
don't think 22 is very, what do you call it, very popular around. It is, especially in the
Yeah.
shooting community. So we're working with these guys. We might not be able to make their event this year. I'm still working on some logistics, but we're working with the Rimfire Challenge Shooting Association, Rimfire Challenge. They're going to have this year in, I think it was, where's this? I'm tempted to look at here. I believe it's in Woodville, Alabama.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's close to Huntsville, Alabama, I believe, just within
All
stone
right.
throwing distance. And they're going to have their version of the World Series or their World Championship 2023. And we're actually going to create. We're not going to show it here because, in all fairness, it might reveal some of the stages. But we're actually creating like 4 posters, dry fire posters, to commemorate the 2023 championship, so that if people want to dry fire a stage that's somewhat similar to what they may have shot at
Sure.
the championship, they can actually do that. So that's something that we're working with them on. Pete over at the Rimfire Challenge Shooting Association will get the first set, and they're going to be able to raffle them off to whomever they need, along with some laser classic licenses. So
Sure.
that's something new. So I just wanted to share that with you. If you're in that neck of the woods and you like a competitive shooting format and you like Steel Challenge, maybe go check out the Rimfire Challenge Shooting Association's championship there in Woodville, Alabama. And I believe we're saying it is the 20th. Is it? I think it starts October 20th and runs until October 22nd. So it's the typical, I think we'd say 3-day type of weekend event.
Okay.
Okay. Now, that said, I'm going to throw another one at you. Let's see if you've heard of these guys. And
Oh,
this is something that is always new for me. And I ran into them. I've heard their name mentioned before, but I don't know if this is something that you're into as well. Have you
right.
heard of Metal Madness?
The first time I heard about it was when you mentioned it to me earlier in the week, and I watched the video and was like, I would shoot that.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Now, do you shoot 22 a lot? Or I think I remember one of the other episodes we asked favorite caliber, and your
yeah,
favorite caliber was the
9 mil.
9 mil.
Um,
Okay.
yeah.
But do you shoot 22, or do you have anything that you shoot 22 with from time to
The,
time?
the only thing I really used 22s for was what we called urban coon hunting, and it was shooting raccoons in old trailer houses on farm property.
Okay, okay, on your property, and these were, I guess, in a sense, they were kind of pests or tearing up your property or anything like
Right. Yeah. There was a purpose. And I had to make sure I explained that to one of my kids. I said, "Hey, man, listen up. Like, we don't just kill things to kill it.
that? There you go.
They're ripping everything up. But there's always a point and purpose. We're not going to go willy nilly poaching everything.
I
You know?
got you. And I guess that's like them hogs that we have here in
Yeah.
Texas, where they're just tearing up the property, killing the crops, and actually harming our livestock. Well, if that's what you had there, well, Rimfire Challenge, Metal Madness, similar to Rimfire Challenge. In fact, the folks over at Rimfire Challenge, thanks to the Rogue Polish Gunmen, if I get that correctly, RPG. They
Hmm.
told me about Metal Madness, and I talked to Ed, who is the CEO and the founder of Metal Madness, and it's pretty crazy. I mean, I thought it was pretty exciting. So, if you are ever looking for some type of format to compete in or just have fun in, it's not even a competition. I think they say it's just a match. You're competing against yourself.
Hmm.
Awesome, because if you look at it, I'm just scrolling here. These are their targets. So they actually have set targets. I think it's 10, 15, 20, and 25-yard targets, and you shoot them in the order that you had there, and it's completely, I mean, you do 10 of these lanes
Uh-huh.
to get your, and then they'll drop the two. I think it's a two worst score, so you'll get 10 lanes, so you'll have 10 times, but they'll
Hmm.
drop two of them, and that's going to be your ranking. It's not a competition against the other person; it's a competition against yourself, and it's
Hmm.
pretty cool because if you look at it, Ed originally built the first stage in his backyard.
Yeah.
A pretty big backyard. It's not one of these Texas postage stamp size backyards.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if you have pretty big backyards in Nebraska.
Oh, yeah. I mean, my backyard is big for in the city,
Okay.
and but like we have 13,000 square feet, so
Wow.
it's large enough for the kids to play,
Okay.
and then but yeah, like that stuff you would be just outside of town if you had. I mean, you got to be out of city limits for sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So not like you can go and start plinking in your backyard. If you
Oh
want.
heck no.
Okay. Well, that's what I thought was kind of cool. Ed actually built this in his backyard. He has a
Yeah.
fairly big backyard. That's probably doesn't need to be said, but he actually built them. And here's kind of a quick view. He has a lot of youth involved, and we love the fact that youth are involved in our shooting, sports shooting, because if you look at a majority of us, and I don't think I'm saying anything that's new to people, but
Yeah.
if you look at most of us who are in the 2A space, we're a lot older, maybe 50, 60. And Sam, you're probably an exception. You're one of the younger guys. But if we look behind us, there's not many people taking the sport after us. And it's always great to see young folks taking up the American heritage, taking up our Second Amendment, and actually enjoying the shooting sport. So
Yeah.
that's why I'm gonna go find one of these ranges, see if I can shoot a match. I understand the closest one for me right now is in Durant, Oklahoma. I'll see if it's
Oh,
open. But I might give it a shot, and I like it that it's 22, so it's fairly inexpensive, but it's also not a
fun.
not a super strong caliber that will scare people. And probably see if Kathy and Sophia wants to go shoot this a couple of times.
Yeah, yeah. No, it looks fun because I think, if I'm not mistaken, they change those targets
Yeah,
every time. And so it's like you're not shooting the same pattern, which is generally how you get a lot faster, is that muscle memory in the patterns.
right,
So,
right. And I think it's pretty cool that I think he had 600. I'm going to say, maybe I'm saying it wrong, but possibly 60,000 or 600,000 possible combinations of targets you can shoot. So you'll never get bored. It's like taking
yeah,
a deck of 52 cards, throwing it in the air, and then thinking, oh, well, we'll pick it up in the same order. It's not going to be the same.
right.
But we're gonna take a look at that, and we'll tell you more about it. But again, if you're ever looking for a competitive sports format that involves the shooting sports, I think you're going to find it. So Metal Madness is one. The other one we talked about was Rimfire, and very
Yeah.
closely related, but definitely 22 caliber galore if you're big into that caliber.
Yeah, yeah. And 22s, I mean, like, I would say that has been one of the funnest calibers I've shot.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
definitely, it's just fun. Like, you go plink. I remember I was probably 14, and we went out to my brother's friend's house, and they had, like a small acreage. And I remember sitting up there, like, and he put this target probably 800 yards out, and like just laying there with a bolt action 22 on a bipod, and I sat there forever just plinking at these steel things. Like, I mean, and it's, yeah, okay, maybe you burned $20, but granted, when I was 14 they were probably 2 cents a round.
Sure, sure. No, and you can get these rounds in buckets of rounds, so that's what I like. And it's a dirty round, but it's fun.
Yeah. Oh,
It's just,
yeah.
I think it's the one step up of a BB gun or a pellet gun, I would say.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, here's something I want to now. A lot of the folks understand we have our own kind of. These are challenges that are out there. Live fire. We have, or last week we did a virtual, let's say virtual postal match, if that makes sense, where you can shoot the target based on this, and you send it in, and you score it. It's called all under integrity, your own integrity. But
Right.
we have one that's going on right now. Let me see if I can pull it up, and it's going to be. Let's pull up the screen share here. I'm going to show this. It's based off of a program that we heard about. Let me see. American Secrets. Let's get the right one here. So what our challenge is right now, it's based off the U.S. Navy Sea Cadets marksmanship, let me get that right, qualification program. And if you look at it, let's see if we can pull up a target. This is what the target looks like. And you can download it off of our site. And they use this. I spent some time with Judge Mounds, or Abby Mounds, who's I think the area commander for Texas. She goes all the way out to Puerto Rico. I like that job if I get
Wow.
to do that. But that's her job. She works with the Sea Cadets in her area, And I spent some time with her at Fort Hood, uh,
Uh-huh.
trying to do this. And it's a marksmanship program that the young Sea Cadets, these are school age kids, they go to a I think it's a whole week or maybe a whole weekend during the summertime to learn about discipline, unit cohesion, and
Mhm.
also getting up super early. I remember hearing that. I thought I was back in boot camp, and marksmanship.
Yeah.
And this is the target they'll hang. They shoot the same target for pistol and rifle. Now, pistol is 15 feet away, and that's what we're going to have here is 15 feet away,
Yeah.
and that's all we're doing. We're doing it for pistol. But what you do is you hang it up on the wall, take 10 shots of it with your laser pistol. It could be a
Mhm.
spurt or anything like that. 10 shots in 2 minutes. That's the first stage that you do, or first string. Then you come back, do 10 shots in 30 seconds, and then 10 shots in 10 seconds. So it's a little
Yeah.
faster, it gets progressively faster.
Mhm.
Perfect score is 300, and then you add that up, and it kind of you'll actually see the ranking you'll have based on their qualifications program. So I'm going to switch to our website here. Let me go to our screen
Yeah.
share, and we should be able to see that here. Let me share
Yeah.
it here, share this tab here, and we're going to go and see their postal match. So if you go to our website here, and I'll pop up the link for it. The current standings, we're going to see so you can actually see the current standings. We've had some people shoot this. So remember, perfect score is 300.
Uh-huh.
Paul shot 287, and he said, take your time. So I think it's a situation where, I think it's a situation where if he took a little more time, he could have scored higher. And what's deceptive is 2 minutes is a lot of time to shoot.
It is. It is. That is.
Did you find yourself tempted to shoot faster because you think like I'm going to run out of time, or did
No, because I saw Paul's comments as I was getting ready to watch it. I was like, "Yep." And then I remember talking to you because we were talking. I think it was earlier this week. We were talking to Steve and just talking about how 2 minutes is a lot of time
Right.
for 10 rounds. And so I just kept that in the back of my head. But even on the 30 round or 30-second,
Yeah.
I was like, "That's still plenty of time."
Yeah.
But I found myself like almost taking too much time to where my muscles like having that much tension on them I started shaking. And so like I did fine on my first round. My second string suffered, and then like my third one, it was just like 10 seconds and I'm like, I'm just gonna rip them out,
Yeah.
get close and just rip. And like I did better on my first and third rounds than I did my middle one.
Oh, on the 2 minute and the last 10-second round, is that what
Yeah.
you did better? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought it was interesting because when we did this with the Sea Cadets in Judge Bounds or Commander Bounds' unit, the kids who shot the 2 minutes, they shot fast. They thought like, oh, 2 minutes. I think when we hear time, it automatically tells us we got to shoot fast, as opposed to this is slow fire, guys. Take your time,
Right.
and then that's when you get your points under slow fire. But then
Right.
under rapid fire, you're normally programmed to do that already. So just let it rip at that point. But
Yeah.
so you fell in that trap too. That man, 2 minutes. Two
It-
minutes is a long time, and you ended up shooting faster than you needed to.
Well, I definitely shot faster than I needed to on all of the strings.
Okay.
I fell into the trap, but like in the other sense, where I was taking a lot of time. Not that I was going to go overtime, but I was in that tense position for so long
Gotcha.
that those fine twitch muscles started kicking in, and you start shaking a little bit. And I was like, oh, I'm not going to be accurate at all. You know.
Okay. And what did you use to shoot? Did you use a CERT or did you use a different device?
I used the cert this time.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, let me just show you here. So if you guys, Sam and I are talking about this match. It's currently going right now. We'll probably let it run long enough so that not too many people beat our scores. No, we're not gonna do that. We'll probably let it run until Wednesday. So if you want to get on it and get some bragging rights to post stuff, you can get it here. Again, here are the rankings. I'm pointing at the screen here, but actually the rankings are here, expert to going UNC or not qualifying. But if you go to the beginning of the page, and again, the link is if you go to laserapp.com / results, you can actually click on this button at the top, check out our current postal match. It's going to change as we get the new ones up there. When you click it, you can actually download the target, and this is the official U.S. Navy Sea Cadets target that you use. Hang it up, and again, we're just doing pistol, and it gives you the qualification table that you have, or the qualification steps that you need to take. And then when you're done, just click here. It'll give you a form where you can actually load up your score and the screenshot so that we can look at it, or everyone can look at it in awe, wondering how you got a 300. But that's a quick way to do it. And the idea is, guys, there's a lot of things you can do. This is supposed to be convenient at home in your own time. And it's just also letting other people around the community know, hey, dry fire is not just dry. It's kind of fun. And we're
Yeah.
taking the old postal match mindset and making it something that is more virtual and more instant, if anything.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely, especially when you just have that, add that little bit of competition to it. It makes just kind of like if you're just dry firing with your gun and no laser, each element you add
Right.
makes it more fun. And that competition, that usually adds the funnest element to it. And, and really, it, you aren't going to get that upset when because obviously I'm at the bottom of the list
I
for
don't know if
shooting.
you're at the, I don't know if you're at the bottom.
Yeah, close enough, And then I've got Zachary rubbing it in my face. This is the first time I've ever shot anything like this. All right, dude.
I told him, hey man, put a little comment in there. Do you want to do any comment? He goes, no. I go, come on, put something in there, and that's what he ended up sticking in there. So he wanted to rub it in all our faces, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
So as it stands right now, Paul's got the top score in there.
Yeah.
So folks, if you're looking at it, there's other people have put it actually submitted their stuff there, but Paul's got the top score. So if you want to try to take him out, go for it. Please, someone knock him off his high throne. No, just joking, Paul. It's great that you're taking part of it, but yeah, take a look at it. It's going to run until Wednesday, and you can get the hang of doing some dry fire. The ultimate goal is we're going to look at doing, rather than for these virtual matches, we'd like to get it where people are used to doing these things and running Laser X, Laser Classic, so we can actually do real time dry fire matches. So that's what we're working towards. We're just trying to get people used to using the software.
Yeah.
I think we got a comment here. Let me see what we can do here. I'm going to show a comment. It came from, hey, Ken, what is it? My vision is kind of bad. Do you see what he said?
It's he was just, I think it was when we were talking about firearm training. So Ken Baker Nowakowski. I hope I said that right, but we've talked to Ken before. Pretty nice dude. But yeah, I think he was just throwing that out there when we were talking about, what trainers do we have, and so he's just throwing his name. He's thrown his name out there as he's an instructor.
Bingo.
So.
And you know what, Ken? I do have some of the images you have, and I've been kind of slow at it. I was on the road. What we like to do, not just for Ken, but anyone else who does dry fire training, if you want to share images to show what you're doing, and that's kind of the reason why we call it LASR Nation. You want people to know that it's not just you doing it. There's other people around the nation. Actually, we would say internationally, because we have customers who are international. If you've got stuff that you're doing and you're comfortable having us post it on our social media, on our newsletter or anything, do that. And if there's people who are interested in getting in contact with you, let's say you're an instructor, that are in your area, that's a quick way for them to see, oh, this person is my neck of the woods. Let's see if we can reach out to them and get some training. And that's a large portion of why we have Steve on board as well.
Yep.
But let's jump to this next one, Sam. Let's do Sam's Corner. So are there any specific, I'm going to jump to this one, any specific questions with regards to, I should say, questions that have come in during the week?
During the week?
Talk about, yeah.
Yeah, I'd say the biggest one that really came in this week was more of a lot of people are reviving or reviving's kind of sometimes like they'll get away from using Laser Classic or say they just get a new computer and want to run it. We've got a lot of questions on, hey, I want to transfer my license to another computer, or they'll see a message that constantly comes up. If you have an older version of the software, that'll say, oh, looks like you might be a victim of piracy or can't connect to the internet. You have to connect to the internet. And when you see those messages, just know nothing's wrong with your computer, unless like you genuinely aren't connected to the internet. You might check it, but almost every time they're connected to the internet, it's just that version, we had to do some back end work. And so the older versions, they basically go to make a phone call out when they start up the software, and they don't know how to, like, it basically the line's cut, and so it's not going anywhere. So the easiest way is just to get your license, your classic license. If you have the email, there's a download link in there.
You want me to pull that one up here for you?
Yeah, go ahead and pull that one up. And that download link, you don't have to uninstall anything. Just go ahead and click that install, go through the install process, and it's going to put everything in there. If you don't have that email, you can either email us at support@laserapp.com, give us a call, or you can go to laserapp.com/license recovery,
Okay.
And that will take you to this page that you're seeing on the screen. You can put in your email. That's the best way to do it, is put the email in that's associated with your license. It's going to then show you a whole plethora. If you have Laser X and Laser Classic, it's going to show you both of those. If you have plugins, it's going to show you those. You can then put in your email, and then, or when you see your Classic license, just go ahead and click email it to me. And it'll send you, our system will kick out your email with your license key and then the download link in it.
Okay.
If you just want, like, you have your license key and you need to download the software again, you can go to laserapp.com/classic download, and that will just take you to the install file. It'll take you to the spot where you're going to install the software, and you can just run it straight from there and then put in your license key when it's prompted after you've downloaded it.
Okay, so there's two options. You can actually, if you have your key and just need the software, just go to, it's the first one. It's the laserapp.com/license. Oh, was it? Let me see. It's going to come through on the screen again here. This is my crawler that we have here. It's going to come through as /license recovery. Is that right? Or no,
Yeah.
that's classic download. That's where if
Well,
you
yeah.
want the application itself, you have your key. Go to laserapp.com/classic download. If you need to get your license key to begin to install, go to laserapp.com/license recovery. Is that right?
Right. And then if you still experience problems, very rarely we've seen it where somebody has a really old version and they go to download the newest one, and sometimes it doesn't download quite right because it's trying to look at what's there, and it's
Right.
not sure what to do. So if you're still experiencing issues after you download the newest version, give us a call or shoot us an email and say, hey, Sam, can I sit down with you for 30 minutes to figure this out? Most of the time I'll get it fixed in 5, but it's just, we're more than happy to do that too. And sometimes it's just quirky, I call it gremlins, they
There you
just,
go. No,
someone
fair
fed them
enough.
after midnight.
Fair enough, because I don't think anyone will be surprised to know, if I say this, that Microsoft is constantly pushing a new update or some
Right.
patch overnight. I mean, I typically get it if I'm up in 1 in the morning. Invariably, something will come up and I'll have to hit update. But yeah, if you have any questions or concerns, it hasn't been an issue, knock on wood, that those things will happen. But it hasn't been an issue that you can just simply do an install, or you just need to get an updated file. But worst comes to worst, give us a holler. We'll try to work with you. And we've even done screen shares before. I think you have done screen shares.
Oh
before.
yeah, we do them all the time. It's a pretty simple process, and it's a great way. Like, one, it builds. I've made a lot of good friends with customers. Just coming in and setting those things up. So, it's never an inconvenience to me. It's I'm always happy to do it, and But then again, I'm extroverted, so.
Extrovert. So let me jump to another one. We had a call or a question from a customer the other day about we actually sell in our shop certain posters, and we were talking about Rimfire Challenge. That's one that we're talking about. In this case, we also sell Glock match posters, and we have a starter kit. And what we have on that kit is there's 4 posters that come in it. They're probably, in talking with the folks at Glock, GSSF, I should say, let me be more specific, they're probably the most common stages based on the size of the bays that you'll run into out in the field when they do matches. Some stages or some ranges don't have wide bays, so they tend to have certain stages. So in the starter kit, if you go to our store, you'll actually see it in the shop, an ability to buy some posters, dry fire GSSF match dry fire posters, and in here we have the ability to purchase a starter set. In the starter set, what you'll find there are 4 stages. Glock to plates, which is the typical plate rack pack that everybody loves to shoot. It's
Right.
hit or miss. There's no other way to do it. You have something called Glock M, and that's the stage that we were shooting at GSSF World Championship the last time. And then there's also Glock M version 1 and 5 to Glock version 5. And some people are wondering, like, well, how come it's a version 5, not a version 1? Version 5 is the V. I believe it's the V where you have one of the legs near you, the apex is the furthest away, and then the other leg is near you. And the way it was explained to us from the guys at the GSSF is that's probably the most common one, just based on the width of a lot of the range or the bays that you find in ranges today.
Right.
So that's why we went ahead and included it. So if you're looking at it and said, wait a minute, how come we get a version 1 and a version 5? That's because of what the recommendation that the folks at GSSF gave to us. Now, that said, these are standard stages based on their playbook, but if you we're at not WSSC, but the Glock annual shooting match that we had just a few weeks ago. They actually did version 1, 5 to Glock, but in the reverse slant, so it was a reverse oblique.
Oh,
So
okay.
I asked them, well, that's a little strange. Why did you do that? It's not in the playbook. It's to throw people off and just give a little change up.
Yep.
So just keep in mind, you order it. These are official stages that you'll find out of the rule book. It's sized correctly, but these are the ones that are most common, I think you'll find.
Sure.
But there's nothing that prohibits folks. Let's say you work with Steve up in Lima. There's nothing that prevents them from changing them up or throwing a little curveball to add variety. So that's what you'll find.
Right.
So, anyways, that's just something I want to hit on. Do you have another ticket to go to with Sam, or not?
No, I mean, that was the big one I wanted to hit on, was just that, that license recovery, and getting your classic, kind of making sure you're up to date on it. Let's see. Ken said move to another laptop since he moved. Let's see here. Sorry, I'm reading Ken's comment
that's perfect.
here.
That's perfect. That's what we're doing.
Logged in. Keeps turning red. It all started. Okay. Yeah. So Ken, you probably have, if you're running Laser Classic, which considering move to another laptop, you could be using. You might be using X. So if it's Laser Classic, there's a padlock that's going to be at the base of the screen. Lock that padlock, but over on the let's see, it'd be the right-hand side underneath the timesheet, you're going to see a shooting mode. You can click the options button, and it's probably, if you have it random start with par or something with par on the end of it, that par is just the time that is expected for you to finish that drill. I'm sure you already know what a par time is, but I guess for the viewers that don't know what a par time is. On Laser X, the way you would change a par time or turn it off would be to go in the settings, which is once you're logged in, go to the gear icon in the top left-hand corner. When you click on that, you'll be able to see shot timer. Go into shot timer, and then you'll be able to either turn par time on or off. So if you're using Laser X, which I think, actually come to think of it from talking to Ken a couple weeks ago when Ben and I talked to him, I believe he has Laser X. So that's where you would want to go, Ken, is go up to that icon in the top left-hand corner, click on shot timer in that list, and then find par time and turn it off if par time's, bugging you. So.
Okay. Good deal. And again, Ken, I guess if you give us a call or it's something that's harder to visualize than to see it firsthand, give us a holler. We'll work with you and show you where that part time toggle switch. It's actually a toggle switch that you actually turn on and off. Let's do this, guys. Sam, we look like we lost Steve here. He texted me, and that's why I was reaching out to him. He said he seems to have lost audio. And let me do this. I will. We're gonna roll to some music real quick. I'll try to bring them on board. Let's do it in the next 1 or 2 minutes and see if we can bring them on.
Yep.
Okay.
Intermission.
So I'm just gonna cut to music, and I guess, guys, this is live, so it happens this way. And tech, when it works, it's awesome. When it doesn't, I've done this for 25 years. It's hellacious. So I'm gonna cut to some music, and we'll be back in a few minutes. Thanks. looks like we beat technology and we didn't let it kick our butts. Steve, how you doing there?
I'm great.
Okay, good deal. Hey, I know sometimes technology is more exciting than coffee, and when it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't. So not a problem. Just glad to have you on board. How's things going where you're at today? Oh, did we just lose? Steve, can you hear us? Okay. Oh, now we got him side. We've gone side.
In and out.
In and out. Okay. Let's see how we do this. I'm gonna try to rotate this and see if we can get you back on here. Uh-oh. We might have lost you again. I think we did. All right, guys. Let's see what we got here. If not, we'll have to probably pause for the afternoon and see how it goes. Bear with me.
Here I am.
Look like he's coming back in.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Let's get you back right side and talking. All right. Well, Steve, let's do this. Can you hear us okay still?
Yeah, so far.
All right. I'm going to move to headphones so you don't get a feedback. So I'm going to look like a rabbit with ears on my head. Uh-oh. I think we might have some problems. We just lost audio again, I think. Can you hear him okay, Sam?
I can hear.
He can hear us. But
He can hear us. Yeah, I'm wondering if his connection might not be able to hold it. So let's do this. I'm going to call him on the phone. We'll just finish the connection over the phone at this point. Let's see what we do. Bear with us. I love technology. This is good. Steve, you can hear us okay. Let's see how strong the connection goes. It might be that the connection might be a little too weak at that end. Can you hear us okay? We might just finish it over the phone real quick.
nope.
Okay, let's do that. Let me call him up and we'll just get him on an audio call. What we're going to do, guys, let's see how this works. When technology works, it works just fine. Hey, Sam, Steve?
Yes.
Say hi to Steve, Sam.
Hi, Steve.
Sam, you're real faint.
Oh. Okay. Let's see here.
How's that? There we go.
There we go. Is that better, Steve?
Not really. I've got Ben okay.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got that. We might not be able to do this time. So go give it a shot again, Sam.
Okay. Well, any better, Steve?
No, I can't hear him at all now.
Okay.
Okay, guys. What we'll probably need to do is break at this point. Steve, we'll go ahead and take a pause on that one. We'll call you back after this, but we'll go ahead and switch to a different portion of the program, but we'll call you back shortly. Okay.
All righty, I'll be here.
All right. Thanks, sir. We'll talk to you soon. Amazing. That's good. That's good technology. So let's do this.
Because it's not like we didn't field test this earlier in the week and it was fine.
It might be that tons of people are jumping on there. So sorry, guys. I mean, if you're looking to catch Steve, he is a good-looking guy, but unfortunately, our internet connection was not as good. So let's do this. We'll go ahead and wrap it up for the afternoon, but let's punch up the typical thing that we did before.
Oh, is this a wheel of woe?
Let's do the wheel of woe. I'm no.
I'm
gonna turn this back down. Let's see how this works. So I know we're at 12:44. There's probably people disappointed they didn't get to hear from Steve. So I'll just do one quick spin and see how this goes. What do you think?
Yeah, okay.
Watch. It's going to ask me what my favorite piece of technology is, and it won't be the internet at this point.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, right.
Here we go. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens here. Round and around she goes.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Yes,
guess what?
Of course,
Sam,
because
I guess
technology.
Steve's not here. It
I
was going to be his guest. It knew he was going to be here, so I didn't plan it that way. But any topic you want to vamp on real quick for
uh
5 minutes? What topic that speaks to you today? And I guess I'll have to speak on the same thing.
oh geesh. Man, I don't know.
That's the wheel
I mean,
of
because
all.
we've done food, so it doesn't necessarily have to be gun related.
No, it's guest choice.
I would think I guess one of the biggest things that's really like that I've been working on a lot is I would say active listening.
Okay.
That's been a big thing.
Oh, anyway, Sam. By the way, no, I'm just joking.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. No, I would say
Well, tell us about active listening.
so. I'm a extrovert by nature, and if you've called me, you know that. If you're one of my classmates in school, you know that by the forum posts because they're super long. Or if you're my wife, yes, honey, I've put up with you for 13 years, I'm sure is what she's saying. Sam talks all the time. My wife is introverted, so I dominate the conversation. But when you're active listening, one of the big things I was finding was different things of like you're actually fully engaged in the conversation that you're having. Sometimes but I found like the faults that I have, things like if my kids are around, I'm not fully invested in the conversation. I'm usually trying to pay attention to them to make sure they're not doing something crazy. Or things like the biggest one has been the cell phone. Like that, and that's I think like run rampant just even in our culture is that like you can't carry on a face-to-face conversation with somebody without their phone being in their hand. And so I've been working on, let's set the phone down when somebody addresses me, set the phone down, and then give your full attention to them. Things like that, so that I'm more invested and I'm listening more. So that's been a real big thing, I think, for me lately, has been trying to work on active listening.
And how long have you been trying to work on that? I mean, is it something that it came to your attention a short while ago, or no, just recently?
Yeah, it was pretty recent. We actually were talking about customer service in school. So I'm going to college for a degree in business management, and one of the classes I'm taking is customer service. So they were talking about different things like spatial cues, nonverbal cues, just different things for us to pay attention to. But then they were like, hey, how much are you actually listening to your customers? Because, and I'm really bad about this too, is that I'll assume when the customer starts talking, I'll assume I know what problem they're getting ready to tell me about. Sometimes I'm right, but sometimes I'm not. And so I'll almost cut them off and, trying to save everybody time, because in America, we like going fast. And then I'm wrong, and so, yeah, that's something that, just really trying to be more cognizant of.
Interesting. Okay. That's interesting you say that, because I know we talked about that earlier this week. We were talking about,
Right.
we usually go over some calls that come in and talk about it, so that if we get a similar call, we're not starting from scratch. And it's interesting you said that, because unlike you, I'm not an extrovert. I'm actually an introvert. And if you want to see an introvert's battery drain right away, get them talking to strangers about something that they know nothing about, or not even talking.
Right.
Introverts probably won't talk. Will probably just be talked to about something that's not of interest to them. And it's also, interestingly enough, as an introvert, I might appear to be extroverted, but actually my engagement is more of I would say a psychological shield to say, okay, keep your arm's distance from me psychologically, because
Right.
you're getting too close. And I will appear to be an extrovert, but really I'm kind of introverted, and I feel awkward.
That's how you make your bubble.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because the people will be happy to talk about themselves, and they'll stay in that space. They don't know that you're actually kind of nervous and uncomfortable talking to strangers.
Right.
Now, it's different. I mean, we're in a gun community, so there's commonalities that we have there. But active listening, that's interesting, because I was a psych major in college. And one of the things is like a little counseling course that we took to understand how to do that.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of it is, have you heard the book? I forget. He was an FBI negotiator. I remember someone talking about that. Don't Split the Difference. And it was
okay.
about active listening, and it's what some of the FBI negotiators use in their negotiation tactics with I won't say with the other person.
Sure.
And it's a big piece. So it's funny that's what the wheel came up with, but active listening active listening has a different, I guess, a different meaning, I would say, or different. It's used differently by introverts and extroverts. So that's just something I thought was interesting that you'd said that.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the quotes that came up, and it really just like hit me like a ton of bricks, was it was a quote by a guy named Steve Covey. I
Okay.
believe it's Covey. But his statement, and I don't know that I'll get this verbatim, but he said, most of us listen to respond. We don't listen to hear. Like, we don't listen to, actually know what the other person's saying. It's just we want to respond,
Gotcha. So you're already thinking of what to say while the person's talking without really
Right. You're
hearing,
not,
I guess, hearing or taking in what they're saying.
yeah, right.
Okay, cool. Wow. All right. Well, that is a interesting topic. I mean, I guess guest choice, very dangerous. It's the wheel of woe, so you never know what it's going to do to you.
Yes, exactly.
It's worse than the internet, although the internet was pretty bad today. But
Yeah.
let's do that. Let's break for today and send
Okay.
everyone on a weekend, folks. Again, thanks for your patience. Technology works; it's wonderful, but when it doesn't, boy, it can blow up in your face. So, I guess until next week, we'll try to bring Steve back, and if we can, maybe we'll do a audio interview instead and talk. It's a pretty important topic because there's a lot more people purchasing firearms, and we'd like them to get in that space, more people to get in that space. But we'd like them to know how to do it wisely and intelligently, how to locate the right type of firearm, but also the right type of instructor when they have that firearm in their life.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So until next week, until next time. I don't know if we'll do it next week or until next time. Train safe, train smart, and what do we say, Sam?
Train often.
And we'll see you on the range.
See you guys.
Good night.